back. Welcome to Comics Corner. Once again, this is Jordan Owens. This week with
Reverend Junior High.
Reverend High. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
That's good, definitely, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Also good to see her again. Any explanation for the mannequin that's here?
This is my manager, and she's not for hire. First off.
No.
No. She can only handle me, but she's wearing a mask today because I found her. She was a hooker on 41, and she owes the pimp money, of course, and so she's going to remain relatively anonymous in this video. Now, the mannequin idea first came to me. It was inspired by a gentleman from Florida.
Who's that?
Max Doyle.
Oh.
And it's, of course, well documented that Max has a huge fetish with mannequins. And,
Right.
And you knew about it. And after watching him and his love for him, I decided to get one, and it's changed my life.
Definitely. I could see how she would.
Yeah.
Definitely. How long have you been in the comedy game, Junior?
Well, I've been in it a minute, man. I took a break for a while. Back in those days, who you can't even count that stuff. About 4 years professionally making money. But I took a break and went out and did the circus freak show thing and stopped doing it, came back to it. But Cowlitz County, Kelso, Washington, that's when it all broke off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about 4 years ago professionally.
What made you decide to even start?
I'm lazy. Like, I don't want to work a day job if I can help it. Ever.
I get that. I like that.
Yeah, and when I was younger, I was super buff, and so bouncing jobs were easy. I did private security for years. I did security for Great White, Spice One, Do or Die, Yin Yang Twins, shitloads, tons. So I was already kind of involved, in the entertainment. I knew some people, but I made them laugh, And if you can be a comedian in the living room, you think you can be a comedian, but those are your friends. So
Right.
once I did one show in front of strangers, it was off and running, and I was headlining almost right off the bat. Rubbed some of the local comedians wrong, but
one thing I admire about you, makes you really, fun person to watch, is you're very active. You do the chair standing. You're very much, crowd working in the crowd. Where did that come from?
Well, the thing is that the chair standing started back home. In Washington. And mainly it was because the shows back there used to pack so heavily that we would have to have people at places where they couldn't really see in the back. And if you've ever been to a concert, think about how many times the guy in the back row is like, fuck. And then when the guy on stage says, give me a shout out to you in the back row, you're like, fucking A, and the spotlight shines on you for a second. And so back home I used to run up and down the tables with a wireless mic and just get crazy. And here, they're not quite ready for all that, but that's why I stand on the chairs, because I want to make sure everybody's fucking looking at me like they're supposed to be during that part of the show, which is always at the end, obviously.
And we've seen you as Junior High. I've seen you recently as Reverend High. Well, what's the difference between the two?
Well, back home there was a big difference. It was Junior, and then I went out on tour, and actually the Enigma, the puzzle man, came up with the little slogan Junior High, make every day a 420 day, which was cool, clever, But once you get classified as a weed comic, that's pretty much what you're going to do. Of course, if you're as big as Doug Benson, it doesn't matter. He's hilarious, and it doesn't matter. It's accepted with him. But on the way up, not so much. So Junior was reserved for mainstream. I did the casino circuit in Washington, and that way you could still be booked in front of old people and people who were against marijuana, which of course in the West Coast is less than here. But then the Reverend High was a character where I could throw on some glitter and this crazy shit and jump off tables and rant and tell poetry, and that's kind of that circus sideshow coming in. So stage presence wise, I want to entertain. I'm an entertainer, and I'll tell jokes in the midst of it. Easy.
Who do you like working with here locally?
Locally, shit. If I was to put it in a 60-mile radius of right here, which would cover our group that we talk about a lot, I like working with Bo Pisano. He's kind of an angry comic, and he's can be high energy, but still he's kind of laid back at the same time, which is weird.
Yeah.
But he can rant, and he's a funny guy. I like Brian Hamilton. We do well together. He's a fucking nutbag.
Yeah, you guys are a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, he's a wild man, and so that works out good. I like some of the young guys too. David Flick, shit, he's piss and vinegar. Challenged me up on Facebook. He's good. He's funny. Good dude. If we were to get out of this area a little bit, Richie Lala's a stud. Funny guy. And the funniest guy, I'm gonna go out on a limb right now, in Florida, bar none, is fucking Eric Myers. Plain and simple.
Alright, yeah.
It's plain and simple. Oh, I was gonna tell you, these arms are missing because some of you don't recognize her because of the mask. She used to date Di Russo, and they had a disagreement. Amputee. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, that's like a 5-month callback, motherfuckers. Anyway.
Junior high never forgets.
Never.
You went all around Florida. Is there anyone else you want to name? Like, go over some of your inspirations that maybe helped you get in the game, or people you really admire?
I hate him and also admire him very much. Doug Stanhope is an amazing comic, but he's a fucking dick. But he's an amazing comic. Kirk Fox is one of the most genius comics as far as I'm concerned, with his style and his flow and the ability to tell a story that seems to go on for 45 minutes but punches you in the stomach 65 times and then one final one at the end. Flo Hernandez is a guy that I respect, and recently working with him, Felipe Esparza was a blast. So, yeah. You met him too, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked with Felipe. He's definitely awesome.
Great guy. Great guy.
What's something you think the comedy scene needs, both, just in a whole, and then also, like, for Southwest Florida?
Well, first off, on a whole, man, I wish I knew, but the bottom line is every single day there's another comedian who is jumping off the deep end and going in. And I'm not talking about the open micers, because if the guys that are worrying about the open micers, remind yourself of this: if you're worrying about that, then you haven't gotten anywhere. Because once you have, that's not a concern of yours at all. I mean, it just doesn't matter. So my thing is, with that many people coming into the business, it makes it that much harder. It's a needle in the haystack in the first place to make it. If the haystack triples every day, but there again, if you can work hard right every day and separate yourself a little bit. Adam Sandler sang little funny songs, and they weren't genius, but they were fucking hilarious, and most people loved it. Larry the Cable Guy, same thing. It doesn't matter if you like him or don't like him. It's not my humor, but he'll pack. He had a niche, yeah. And he'll pack Jermaine Arena next week, and we'd all love to be on that lineup. So it is what it is. I worked with a guy, Jeff Capri, who worked with Adam Sandler. He said he's just like the truest, realest of guys. And you can't beat that, because some of the guys you meet, they're anything but what you thought they were going to be. Yeah. So my thing is high energy. If you want to get theatrical, cool. I don't care. People can say what they want about props or anything else. If it's funny and it's yours, fuck them. I mean, it's just that simple. I don't give a shit. The fact that every time I turn around, someone says, "Oh, he's standing on a chair again. He's doing a nursery rhyme poem." Good. Keep saying it. You remember it, because right. Maybe I didn't remember anything about your act, but you remembered that.
People don't walk away remembering it, right?
Yeah, and if the crowd at the end of the night liked it, I give two shits what the comedian thinks. Right. And honestly, I don't really care what the owner or promoter thinks, because I've been told many times before shows here in Florida, no dropping the mic, no running off the stage, no standing on it. And I do as best I can to not break the mic because I don't want to pay for it.
This is actually a good question. Have you ever had to pay for a mic?
Oh yeah,
Have
back home, yeah, 6 different times. Shit, I'm known for breaking those. With the Dane Cook
Joe asks you, your advice about starting the comedy business. What would you say to them?
Right. And you got to put your time in. Bottom line is, I read somewhere a while ago that you need to be financially stable if you want to get into this game. Bottom line is, none of us are financially stable. If we were, it would have meant we gave up comedy probably and went to mainstream. But we continue to keep going. If some guys do both, some do the day job and get out there and work on the night job. A lot tougher if you're a professional and you're touring and you're hitting different cities. In the year before, we've been here almost a year now, and the year prior to that on the West Coast, we did 280 shows. We were busy all the time, and when you're touring with the circus on that little run, it's every night. So as long as you can get out there and get your exposure, that's the best thing you can do. Right? Don't steal people's shit, and make sure that if you have a niche, fuck man, if you can make your asshole talk up there, if you can, I don't give a shit, whatever it is, if you come up there dressed in a tutu, I mean, Damien Seaman tried it, but it was a fucking train wreck, but if you can pull it off, do it, do it. Because then they're gonna remember your name. If you're not funny, you ain't gonna get anywhere anyways, but if they remember your name, something about you, that's the game.
Where do you see yourself in comedy? 5, 10, 15 years? What are your long-term goals?
I never had any delusions. Everything, I'll be honest with you 100%. If I had to walk away tomorrow, I could, because I never thought this was going to happen. I never expected it to. I wanted to, but never expected that it would. I figured I'd just be the funny guy in the living room forever with my buddies, and that was okay. Once I got bit by that poisonous bitch we call the stage, then it was different. Then you're hooked. We all are. Lifelong, probably. But the people I've worked with, the advice I've gotten, the amount of people I've been in front of, the response that you get, perfect. I could wrap it up. Am I going to? Fuck, no, absolutely not. I'm just getting going. But in 5 years, no delusions. I'm not looking to be the next MTV. I'm not fucking Tosh. I like him, he's fucking hilarious, but that's not me. You're not gonna get that. I will hit the road with a fucking frenzy, and I will pack your house and they won't forget it. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll jump off of shit, and I'll handle any heckler in the audience at the same time. So for me, as long as I'm making the money that I feel like I deserve, and obviously you don't throw that number out, but as long as I'm getting that to do the feature and getting that to do the headline, because at this stage I wouldn't do anything that's not. And I'm all about featuring. I have no problem with it. As long as I respect the guy that's headlining and he's good.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Nice. Anything else you want to let the audience know?
Here's the difference. Back in Seattle, I say this a lot, back in the Washington area where everything's more kind of accepted, and the difference between here with, of course you have snowbirds, you know what I mean? So it's hard to say. If you're doing a show during season, the audience is from 15 different states, you know what I mean? They probably outnumber the people who are from Florida. The difference, I think, is this. Here in Florida, I think we take one thing for granted. If you know a promoter who's booking you in a hell gig, i.e. Damien Seaman, or even Amato does hell gigs, I like his shows, but they're all hell gigs. If you're doing those gigs, they're paying you. And I'm going to tell you right now that on the West Coast, that's not there for you. You're going to work, and you're going to work your ass off till you get into the mainstream clubs and casinos, and that's when you're going to make your money. But until that fucking point, it's passing around the hat, bitch. You're getting some drinks, and that's it. And that's usually Pabst Blue Ribbon. But once you're working the casino circuit, you're getting paid, and you're staying in a hotel. See, for all of us that piss on Florida, and I do it a lot, Florida's paying us to do shows, and that's a beautiful thing.
Definitely.
Beautiful.
Now this was good. Guys, everyone, I'm Dane Cook.
So am I.
Thank you for watching. Good night, good luck, and go fuck yourselves.